Well, howdy, y'all. This is your old pal Roscoe, coming at you live from the Delta Deep Radio Network. Get ready for another episode of spooky stories and toe-tapping tunes, because we're fixing to have ourselves a good old time. But first, I've got some exciting news to share with y'all tonight. We've launched a brand new YouTube channel, Delta Deep with Roscoe, where we'll be uploading archives of our usual Saturday broadcasts every Sunday or Monday. So, if you ever miss a show, or just want to relive some of our favorite moments, head on over to the channel and give us a subscribe. For those of you online listeners who might be new to Delta Deep, we're a radio show that's been broadcasting out of the heart of the Mississippi Delta for the past 8 or so years. Our show covers all sorts of topics, but we like to stick to the same basic format every week. First up is always a little personal tale from yours truly. I always like to kick things off with a story from my own experiences to get the ball rolling. Then we feature a couple of songs from one of our local bands to get your feet tapping. And in the middle of the show, we like to mix things up with a listener-submitted story. Finally, we open up the phone lines for our listeners to call in and tell their own tales. And just when you think the night can't get any better, we sign off with a song that will leave you feeling like you're sitting on a front porch in the Mississippi Delta. We like to think of ourselves as a little slice of Southern culture, delivered straight to your radio, and now to your computer screen. And while we might not have the fanciest equipment or the most high-tech sound effects, we make up for it with good old-fashioned storytelling and a deep appreciation for our listeners. So if you're looking for a taste of the South or just some good company on a Saturday night for about a half hour, tune in to Delta Deep. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get this show on the road, folks. We got a great lineup for you tonight, so sit tight, grab a cold one, and get ready for another Saturday night with Roscoe on Delta Deep. All right, time for Roscoe's Story of the Week. Have y'all ever heard of the horned hound? It's a cryptid that's been rumored to roam the swamps and bayous of the Deep South, with a set of massive curved horns jutting out from its head. Some folks say it's a distant cousin of the gator, while others claim it's a hound that's been blessed by a witch doctor. But no one really knows for sure. All we have are the stories and sightings that have been passed down over the years. Now, I ain't one to believe in tall tales and such, but I've heard enough stories from the folks around here to make me think twice about what's really out there in them bayous. And one hot summer night, while out fishing in the deep backwaters, I saw something that made me question everything I thought I knew. It was just past dusk, and the sun was sinking low on the horizon. I'd been out on the water all day, casting my line into the murky waters in the hopes of catching something big. But despite my best efforts, all I'd managed to snag was a few measly catfish and a whole lot of disappointment. I was just about to pack it in and head back to shore when I heard a rustling in the nearby reeds. At first I thought it might be a gator or maybe just a big old snapping turtle, but then I heard the sound of heavy breathing and my blood turned to ice in my veins. I turned to look, and that's when I saw it. A massive horned creature that looked like nothing I'd ever seen before. It was about the size of a big old gator with shaggy, matted fur and a set of enormous curved horns jutting out from its skull. Its eyes glowed like hot embers, and its breath came out in ragged gasps. For a moment I thought I was seeing things, but then the creature let out a deep, mournful howl that echoed through the bayou, and that's when I realized I should have stayed in my truck, because I ain't got time to be wrestling with no cryptids. But hey, at least now I got a good story to tell over some sweet tea and cornbread. Anyways, I stood there for what felt like an eternity, rooted to the spot in fear and disbelief. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the horned hound was gone, leaving me there alone in the dark with nothing but my thoughts and a beating heart. When I finally made it back to shore, I was shaking like a leaf. I told my buddies about what I'd seen, but they just laughed it off and said I'd probably had too much sun. But I knew what I saw, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something truly otherworldly was out there in them swampy waters. In the years since that fateful night, I've heard other stories about the horned hound. Some wilder than others, but all with that same thread of fear and awe running through them. And even though I've never seen the creature again, I can't help but wonder what other mysteries might be lurking in the deep, dark waters of the southern bayous. And speaking of southern mysteries, up next we've got a local country band that's sure to have you tapping your toes and clapping your hands. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sweet sounds of Loretta and the Honky Tonk Angels. Ain't they something? Well, it just so happens that the Angel's very own Loretta went to the same school as my Wyatt did. In fact, they were in the same grade and had some classes together. Small world, ain't it? Anyways, welcome back. It's your pal Roscoe here on the Delta Deep Radio Network, and it's that time of night where we dive deep into the spooky and mysterious. And tonight, we've got another bone-chilling tale sent in by one of our listeners. Now, this fella, we'll call him Jim. He's a big fan of old abandoned places. You know, the kind of places that give you goosebumps just by looking at them. So, he decided to check out this old rundown mansion on the outskirts of town. As he made his way through the creaky old house, he couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't alone. He thought he heard footsteps in the distance and whispers in the shadows, but he couldn't quite make out what they were saying. Jim decided to pull out his trusty audio recorder to see if he could capture any of the sounds. And sure enough, as he made his way through the old mansion, he could hear faint whispers and strange noises on the recording. But that was just the beginning. As he approached a particular room in the mansion, he heard a voice on the recording that sent chills down his spine. It was the voice of a woman, but not just any woman. This was the voice of a ghost. Jim couldn't believe what he was hearing, but he kept recording as the voice grew louder and clearer. Now, y'all might not believe me, but we've got the audio recording right here. Take a listen for yourselves. Did y'all hear that? That was the voice of a ghost, plain as day. And that wasn't all. Jim said that as soon as he played back the recording, the temperature in the room dropped, and the hairs on the back of his neck stood up. Needless to say, he got out of there pretty darn quick. So there you have it, folks. Another spine-tingling tale from the Delta Deep. Who knows what other ghosts and ghouls might be lurking out there in the shadows. But I'm sure many of you have your own tales of terror to share, so now it's time to open up the phone lines and hear from our listeners. Don't be shy. Call in and share your own encounters with the unknown. Who knows, your story might just send chills down our spines. Well, would you look at that, folks? We have a caller on the line. Let's see what they have to say. Howdy, you're on the line with Roscoe from Delta Deep. What's your name and what's on your mind? Hello? Anyone there? Okay, I guess we lost them. That's all right, folks. The Delta Deep phone line is open again, so give us a call back anytime. In the meantime, let's get back to the music. Hey, mind getting me a glass of sweet tea? No? Okay. Wait, is this thing still on? Oh, shucks. Sorry about that, folks. Just trying to get some refreshments here in the studio. Don't mind me. Looks like we still have some time left. Anyone else out there with a spooky story to share? Don't be shy now, we're all friends here. Well, I guess that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in to Delta Deep. Until next time, keep an ear out for things that go bump in the night. See y'all next week.